So as you know, we just got back from our trip to Florida.
Yep. And just really loved it there. We want to kind of talk about some questions people have had and do kind of a wrap up.
Yep.
Here we go. Yeah.
Wow. Well, hey everybody, I'm Bill.
And I'm Elizabeth. Live simple.
Live free. Florida. We love Florida. We learned that we love Florida.
Yeah, actually, really have. Yeah.
As we were talking about it, I realized that for some reason I've been to Florida more than she has. I don't really know why. But
I'm from the West, and Bill is from the East Coast, so it's probably been a lot easier for you to get to Florida.
Yeah, but most of my experiences in Florida were in the summertime, and I like it, but it's hot.
Yeah.
And I can't handle the heat.
He doesn't actually, he actually gets heat exhaustion.
But what we discovered on this trip was that we absolutely love Florida in the wintertime.
Yeah, I understand why people snowbird.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been there all that many times. If I'd ever been there, like when we went to Key West, it was in the winter. So I haven't had experience of Florida in the summer, but the heat and humidity would be, I think, well, not real fun for me, but I think it'd be kind of rough on him.
Right.
Yeah.
So actually, quite a few of you said that we seem to enjoy it so much that we need to move to Florida. So what do we think about that?
Okay, there's two things I'll say about that. One that I'm sure you're going to cover about just the timing of being down there. But the other is that I just love my place here that we have in Virginia. Absolutely love it. I love the land we have around here. I'm loving this little house. We're not very far away from our son and his family. So, no, I have no inclination I love the church. So I have no inclination to want to actually leave here. And boy, spring, summer, fall are pleasant here. They're really wonderful. And then you can talk about the other reason why we
Well,
wouldn't go
we
full-time
are
all the time.
we are established here in Virginia. Like she said, our son and his family are very close, and we're established in the church, and we both play in the worship band and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So if we would move to Florida, we would just be there all by ourselves with no support, no family. Of course, we would make friends and stuff, but that's not what we desire to do.
Right. Besides, we love it here.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the other thing, like I already mentioned, is the heat. I'm from the north, from the northeast. I do not do well in the heat. In fact, where we used to live in our tiny house in the Pocono Mountains in Pennsylvania, as soon as it hit 85, everybody started complaining about the heat.
Well, he literally turns gray and gets heat exhaustion.
Yeah.
I can handle heat much better than he can. It's just some people's bodies handle it better than others.
But, then I realized that, I dealt with winters up there that were 10 below on a regular basis. And I realized that when it gets that cold, you just bundle up and then you go from a heated house to a heated car to a heated store.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
You just stay out of it. And then I realized that, well, in Florida, you would just go from an air-conditioned house to an air-conditioned car to an air-conditioned store. So I would be able to survive it, but I just don't do well in the heat. We can have that kind of heat here in Southern Virginia too, but it doesn't last nearly as long as it does in Florida.
Right. Well, it's not going to be a little bit as much of a constant thing. Our latitude is much farther north.
Right. So we have no plans to move there. However, we have discovered that we absolutely love snowbirding.
Yeah.
So
I understand why people do it.
We do have this trailer. That's what we bought it for. Now that I've got my van back and it seems to be working again, that's our plan, is to spend several months every winter snowbirding in Florida in the RV.
Yeah.
In the trailer.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I spent most of my life either in the Northeast or in Colorado dealing with this kind of stuff. And sitting down there next to the pool in Florida last week with the palm trees and the beautiful weather, I realized, thinking about this cold and this 3 foot snow that I'm dealing with. You know, I'm just done with that. I'm just done with it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really nice. I feel like I'm getting more of a handle on what it's like down there, and we went to like at least one of the state parks where we could take the RV, and it's where I saw the alligator, and
Cold Creek.
Colt Creek.
Yep.
Oh man, I fell in love with those. Oh my goodness! So I think that would be absolutely delightful. That would be so cool.
And speaking of state parks and RVs,
Yeah, we're learning.
yeah, we learned something. We had heard, that if you want to stay down there in the winter in an RV park, you need to make your reservations ahead of time, like a year ahead of time. Boy, they weren't kidding.
Oh, if you ever want to try to actually camp down there, especially if you need an RV spot, tent spots not so much, but if you need an RV spot, let us tell you what we've learned.
Yeah, so here's what happened. I decided that we're going to go do this next year, so we're going to once again try to move around different places. So I was making a reservation at a state park in Florida, and you can make reservations 11 months in advance. So here in, mid-March, I was making the reservation for mid-February. And they open it up every day at 8 a.m. for the next day. So 11 months from today at 8 a.m., that opens up. And when it does, you can grab that spot, and then from there on, you can go 14 days forward, even though those reservations aren't opened yet.
Yeah, you can go ahead and reserve 2 weeks.
Yeah, starting on the day that they open it up. So I looked at the state park that we wanted to go to, and I saw that tomorrow morning there were only 3 spots that were going to open up because the rest were already booked, 2 weeks into the future. So I was on, and I knew that the reservations opened at 8. So I was on the website ready to go at 8 o'clock, and there was actually a countdown at the top to 8 o'clock when you could make the next reservations. And as soon as it hit as soon as it hit 0, I had to refresh so that I could see the new reservations.
Right, so it opened up.
I refreshed it. Those 3 were now available. I clicked on the first one, and by the time I got there, it was already gone. So I backed out of there, and the second one was already gone before I clicked on it. The third one was still there, so I clicked on it, and I got it. I was so excited. That was it. The 3 for the day, and they were gone. 30 seconds after 8 a.m., and the reservations for the day were gone, and we got one of them.
Yeah, during the time that he clicked to refresh it so the new stuff would come up, someone was able to snatch that first one. By the time he could try to get back to there, someone took the second.
Yep.
And it was just we happened to be able to grab the third.
Yep.
Yeah, I had heard someone say before that when they were trying to make reservations that the husband would like set an alarm and be up like at the first possible second that you could do it so they could plan for the next year. And that is absolutely true.
Yep. Now, I don't know what it's going to be like at private RV parks, KOAs, and those sorts of things.
Right.
I'm just talking about state parks. All of Virginia, all of Florida, you can make a reservation 11 months in advance. So.
Also, Bill's military. He's a retired Army. So there are really nice military recreation areas available. And man, those fill up super fast.
Those are booked up like several years in advance.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of places down there, like one near St. Petersburg that we would love to go to because we love that area. And they're just there. They book like instantly. Yeah. So we were very grateful to get the one spot that we did for next year. And I did that way in advance.
Right.
I mean, so yeah, you've got to really plan what you want to do, plan way ahead,
yep.
And kind of, we had to learn the system.
So another thing that we learned, just learning about Florida itself, is that...
Well, and I think this came from your bike ride a lot.
Yeah, Barry and I did a bike tour of Florida last year, and that's when I started to learn this. But we experienced a little more of it this year, is that most of the population is along the coasts, either on the Atlantic or on the Gulf side, right within 50 miles or 30 miles of the coast.
Which makes sense.
And most of the interior, there are some towns there, of course, like Orlando and some things, but most of the interior is just open farmland and stuff like that. Very pleasant and not built up, not, crazy traffic and all that kind of stuff. So we really enjoyed that a lot. And it also gives us the opportunity, because there's a lot of state parks there in the center where the demand isn't quite as high and the population isn't quite as high. So.
Well, and of course, the areas along the coast are wonderful. We did get a chance. The one time I've ever been down there for a little bit of time, we went to Titusville. In fact, that was an incredible. We just had a tent, and we went down there for a few days.
That was a long time
ago. And it's not too far from Orlando. Titusville's right along. I'll tell you where Titusville is. It's right beside Cape Canaveral, and all the astronaut stuff, and so we were close to there, and that was incredible because we didn't know there was going to be a shuttle launch.
Yeah. We found out like the night before that there's a shuttle launch the next day.
And we had not even known it, and so we were able to go over, and just people said, "You're welcome to come into our backyard." We literally watched across a little bit of water and saw the shuttle take off.
There were hundreds of people, there watching it.
Yeah.
I actually got video of it, but it was from an old video camera long before I was YouTubing, and I don't know where that is anymore.
Yeah. So it was really cool to get to see a shuttle launch. It was immensely, whoa. But anyway, that area along the coast there, oh man, is beautiful. I loved St. Petersburg. I loved being in St. Augustine and the ocean, and you know that. And I just, I can see why the coastal areas are really popular. But that interior part of the state is really lovely. It just really is. There's lots of just like open farmland. There's orchards. Some of these little state parks in the middle there, and those huge, gorgeous live oaks and all the Spanish moss. And
now that we know what live oaks are, they're everywhere in Florida. And many of you told us when we said, "What is this? It's a live oak. We'd never heard of it." Many of you told us that they're all over the South, from North Carolina all the way through Texas. So we just had never noticed them before.
Right, and they're beautiful. But anyway, just we learned to really appreciate that less populated sort of central section of the state, and I'm going to be happy to do some camping there. I don't care if there's nothing fancy going on. Mm-hmm. It's just beautiful and peaceful there, so I liked it. And go ahead, I'm sorry.
No.
Speaking of being in the center, Florida has huge aquifer under it, and so there's just all sorts of water everywhere. There's just ponds and whatever that's called, Okefenokee.
Weeki Wachee?
Well, no, Weeki Wachee is a great big spring.
Okefenokee Swamp? Is that in Florida or is that in Georgia?
No, that's in Florida.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, there's great big swamp areas. There's great big lakes. So anyway, there's a lot of water down there, and so the reason I'm saying that is because I saw firsthand. We had been told that where there's water, there's alligators, and so. The only place that they don't tend to like to go is like right in the spring, like Weeki Wachee, because they like to be where they can hide easier, and that spring is crystal clear. Mm-hmm. But they occasionally do get alligators in the spring, as well as manatees, which is really cool. But there really are alligators, and I was so thrilled to actually be able to see that one in the wild, and actually be able to get a video of it. And of course I was safe. I was up on a fishing pier. And he went right underneath, but I was up there and I was safe. That same alligator could have come walking out right onto the path there. Just a second here. Don't turn it off. That's my sister. Hi, sweetie. Can I call you right back?
Oh, sure.
Okay, bye-bye. Okay, that was Dana. But anyway, I'm saying all that to say that it is really cool to me, the animals that there really are down there. And you just have to have respect for the fact that there are alligators there. And
when Elizabeth was so excited about seeing that alligator, a lot of you who either live in Florida or know about Florida said, "Oh, you can see alligators and listed here and here and here and here."
Yeah, lots of places.
Those are all alligators in captivity, and we'd seen those.
Yeah, well, at least a little bit, yeah.
The thing that she was excited about was to actually see one in the wild for the first time.
Yeah.
Now we know that they're everywhere. So.
Yeah. So, it doesn't scare me, the thought of being down there, to visit or to, do the snowbirding. Just have to be respectful of the fact. That's not a place, all of my life, if you want to go, you just go swim in rivers and you swim in lakes and stuff like that. I don't think I'd do that in Florida. So, not real readily unless it's been very carefully cordoned off or something. But I'm not scared of them at all, but you just have to be respectful of the fact that they live there. That's their home too. And I loved all the cranes or whatever they were, the big white heron crane birds, and so I love the wildlife there. And when we have had a chance to go to some of the more kind of exotic places with the trips that we've been able to earn with Thrive Life, Aruba, and we went to Panama, we went to the Bahamas. They had these beautiful, big, sweeping palm trees, really tall, very beautiful and dramatic. But especially in the center part of Florida, they have these little squat palm trees. They've got little, and I know that, I've seen ones like that in Arizona before too, but they have really neat patterns on the bark, and they're just little short, scrubby palms, and I liked them. They make these little, I don't know, areas, copses of just little quiet places, and I don't know, it's hard to explain exactly, but I discovered that even some of the less big fancy plants are fun, anyway. So I enjoyed that. Oh, going right down our list here. Okay. I just also, especially after having been, pretty sick for a while, oh my goodness, that warm air, the sunshine, the air blowing off the ocean. You can just breathe it way down to your socks. And I really appreciated that there. I think getting out and doing a lot of walking and getting in the sunshine and all the fresh air was actually really good for me.
Right.
We just did an interview with a really good friend of ours, Brad from Big Family Homestead, and he cracked me up. He's got this beautiful white beard, and they live in Wisconsin, and he just couldn't stop talking about being side by side on it was a Zoom kind of a call, being side by side by Bill after we'd just been in Florida because Bill was tanned. he said, what is he? He said he looked like he was
pasty white.
A pasty Santa Claus.
Yeah.
That's what he said he looked like. He was like, man. But we were out in the sun a lot, so we picked up some sun, and it was really cool. Something that I think is really interesting is that I remember the feeling when we were down there, like when we were at St. Petersburg or just, good grief, St. Augustine, or just anywhere around in there, Destin. It's like, people actually just live here. The locals, by the way, that we ever spent time with were just super nice, that we ever talked to. But, I grew up in Colorado Springs, which can be a big tourist destination with Garden of the Gods, Pikes Peak, so many different things. We lived in the Poconos for a long time, and that can be a real tourist destination. In fact,
Poconos is a tourist destination and the closest ski area to New York City. So people come out from the city, and they're out there skiing and stuff for the weekend. And it's like, and they're thinking, so people really live here in the mountains. I lived there. I went to high school there.
Yeah, it was a big honeymoon area, and so I understand that feeling of people come and they think it's really exciting, but you just live there, and it was like that with Florida. People just live there, and we've had so many people comment that, I lived in Florida all my life, but I never went to that place. And I remember that being the case. The only time we ever drove to the top of Pikes Peak, which is, you can drive right to the top of that 14,000-foot mountain, was when we had company that would come into town. We went to Garden of the Gods or Manitou Springs or any of those kind of places. Usually it's because we had company that we wanted to show them something. I was like that with the Poconos too. There's a lot of things that we didn't necessarily do unless we wanted to show somebody. And so I can understand that whole feeling of like, I lived there, but I never went to that spot, and the people just really lived there. They were very nice. So it helps if you have some notes.
She added a bunch of things to the list that I don't even know what they are, and the list is upside down. I can't read them well, so she's in charge.
Actually, on the list, that was it. He went to set up the camera and everything, and I was jotting down a few more ideas. Yeah. So
I guess bottom line is we're not moving to Florida. We love it here in Virginia, but we absolutely love Florida in the wintertime.
Oh, yeah.
So we are hoping and planning to start snowbirding there for several months every winter instead of just 2 weeks like we did this time.
Yeah, we really are hoping to. We have been able to set up a couple of months for this next coming winter.
Yeah.
It was some finagling to do it, but we did it. So, boy, that's a learning curve and a half.
Yeah.
So I am trusting this will be our Next year will be our 5th attempt to actually camp down there.
By then, I will have driven the van for an entire year, so I know whether it's going to be trustworthy or not.
Yeah, whether everything's
By the
okay.
way, I took the van up to a different mechanic, a place that specializes in diesels. That's all they do. And he listened to the engine and he said, "Oh, it sounds fine." He said that the other mechanic did a good job. And I said, "Well, why is it so loud?" And he said, "Well, the 6.0s just are loud." And he said, "There's nothing wrong with it. That's the way it should be." So I'm going to try to cover it with some insulation, some soundproofing insulation, and see what I can do about that. But he gave me a real peace of mind to know that, a second mechanic saying, "Yeah, it sounds like he did a good job."
Well, in fact,
rebuilding the engine.
Right, he looked things over a little bit even, and he was pretty. He said, "Yeah, the guy did a great job." So, all right.
Okay. So there's our trip to Florida.
Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the videos, and it was for just being 2 weeks. It was nice. Something that's going to be really different when we can actually get down there with the RV for time is you get out of the tourist mode and into just living there mode.
Right.
And you actually, I think, rest a little bit more.
Yeah, when you're in tourist mode, 1, you spend too much money, and 2, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
But if you just live there and then you just go do something touristy once a week or once every 2 weeks.
Yeah, just something every now and then.
Instead of every other day.
Yeah. You don't have to necessarily rest after you get back home again. Right. All righty.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
So thanks for watching.
Yeah, live simple.
Live free. You be blessed.
Yeah. All right, we love you guys, and of course we'll be back with more stuff.
We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye. Yeah, I had added more notes here.
Yeah, I saw that.
You're doing a pre-intro?
Yes.
Okay.
So as you know, we just got back from our trip from Florida.
Yeah. Hold it. Say that again, hon. You just said we just got back to our trip from Florida. Back from our trip to Florida.
Back from our trip.
Yeah, we got back from our trip. Anyway, let's try again. Just a second, my nose. It should. Oh, okay. All right.